Welcome into another edition of Under the Bus. I'm Bob Stevens with ESPN back in the glory days, along with Curry Kirkpatrick, who was with Sports Illustrated during the glory days, and then Rich Basirico, who coached basketball during the glory days, when people came to watch high school basketball, right?
It was fun.
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
They don't come like they used to.
Gyms were full. People were going crazy.
And Rich had a lot of glory. Rich had a lot of glory.
Rich had a lot of glory too. That's for sure.
Get out of here.
We were ahead of the game last week because we actually started with Aaron Rodgers. It was the 1 week in this series of podcasts where we did not begin with Deion. Well, that may have actually been a mistake because every week now
Aaron
should begin
Rodgers
with
is so
Deion.
over compared to Deion. Come on, Deion.
Deion's the man.
Play me my theme music.
All right.
I don't think anybody's heard Deion's theme music, but it's got to be Lil Wayne. It's got to be Lil Wayne because he's on all the pregame shows with Deion. He's on the sidelines. The one thing I've learned of all this Deion stuff is that Lil Wayne is really little. I mean, he's like, what is he, like 3 feet tall? He's like unbelievable. I once did a story in the circus, and I met a little dwarf, a little bald dwarf who ran around picking up the elephant doo-doo, and his name was Piccolo. And they said that Piccolo drank so much beer. He drank more beer. He had more beer per inch.
Where are we going?
More beer per inch than any human in history. And I think
because
Lil
he was
Wayne's
so
like that.
small.
I'm getting back
It's
to
not a lot of
Deion.
beer
I'm
then,
getting
since
back
he's
to
so
Deion.
small.
Yes, please.
All these rappers named Little take their little from Little Richard.
Okay.
And I think I mentioned last week about that's who Deion sounds like. And I just saw a documentary on Little Richard. CNN did a great documentary. And I swear that Deion grew up watching Little Richard because his cadence, his rhythm, it's all about me, it's all about us, it's unbelievable.
If folks did not catch the last podcast, we refer you to the definitive Deion story, which was written by Curry
thank you.
Kirkpatrick in Sports Illustrated. 1989, but we just saw him on 60 Minutes, which is another reason why he's still supremely relevant.
Unbelievable.
And it's the same guy, isn't it, that you met in 1989? He hasn't changed, hasn't gotten any more braggadocious or any of that.
And we call ourselves Under the Bus. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to throw Deion under the bus.
But
there are negatives, and I want to go Mr. Negative, the hater, a hater of all time. You've always hated Deion. 1989, we did a cover shot of him. He had his jewelry on. He called it Jewelry. We had Neon Deion in primetime on the cover. Both his names on the cover.
Right.
You were a hater then. You're a hater now.
Because he played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Go
I'm
ahead,
a Giant fan.
Go ahead. Hate on Deion.
Well, he's an unbelievable promoter of himself. I mean, all coaches, he's a coach now, have egos. But his ego is off the charts.
Here you go.
Off the chart.
Arm
His
down,
ego's
arm down.
off the chart. I mean, as a coach, did you watch him? He had his headphones on like all coaches do. Did he ever speak into his microphone? It was up in the air like
show,
this.
you think? Yeah.
During the game, he never talked.
Well, he may not want to. I mean, a lot of coaches just want to listen, don't they?
Well, yeah, but he's not making any decisions. His coordinators
Well,
are.
wait a minute.
He's not. He's a motivator.
Wait a minute.
He's a motivator.
Okay, in overtime.
And a recruiter, too. I mean, he recruited Travis Hunter, who was the #1 recruit in the country. He could have went to Alabama, could have went to Georgia, Clemson, whatever. He got him to come to Jackson State.
Yeah.
How do you do that? He's a terrific
It's his
promoter.
personality.
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
I don't agree with you about his not decisions. In overtime of the Colorado State game, most coaches, they get the decision. They're gonna let the other team go first. We're gonna go last.
Right.
He went first because he's got his quarterback. He went first in overtime.
You think that was
no
his
coaches
decision?
do that. Yes, of course it was.
Come on,
Rich.
Didn't he also have momentum because he was down late and they scored late?
They scored
Well,
that.
they scored
He had
98
2-point
and
conversion.
made
Made
it
a 2-point
So
conversion.
they had the momentum, and I
Absolutely.
think
His
a lot
kid
of
goes
coaches
90.
will do that.
My negatives on Deion, I think he embarrassed the team when he talked to the team, when he blew off all the former Colorado players. He said, you all guys got to go in the portal because I'm bringing guys in. That's one negative. His also now, he did it on 60 Minutes. He's going God squad on us. He's going God, it was my calling. It was my calling to go to Jackson State. It's my calling to go to Colorado. I mean, come on, Deion. He said he never swears. In my story in 1989, well, before my story, I also covered him in college. And there was a game against Clemson, and the Clemson kids run down the hill. Well, Deion in Florida State, they're playing Clemson big game. He's at the bottom of the hill taunting the Clemson players, and I guarantee he was swearing on that. Then, in the middle of the game, late in the game, I think Florida State was blowing him out. He's back for a punt return. He's over in the sidelines taunting to the Clemson players. He was going, I heard him because I was down the sideline. He's going, this mofo is going back. And he took it 76 yards for a touchdown. So don't tell me, Deion.
No, he's a great
Don't
great
give me
player.
give me God squad.
But see, that's also perfect Deion, because he taunted him, and all the rest of us in the world get that one shoved in our face.
Right.
He runs it back for the touchdown.
Well, he's a great athlete. But I mean, there's some of the things he did, like the sunglasses. Did you see that? The big thing with the glasses.
He sold 1.2 billion sunglasses.
Right, 819% merchandise went up after this with the sunglasses. He gave them to the people on the morning show, the SportsCenter
And he gave
show.
it to his whole team.
His whole team.
Yeah.
And then I looked it up. Those glasses are $63 a piece.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah, so
1.2 billion sales went up that
On
week.
sunglasses.
That brand of sunglasses.
Well,
that
see,
brand
that's
of
what it's. But that's what it's all for him.
Well,
It's
you know
all
what?
about
You know
him.
what? I also don't like.
Merchandise.
He's always slurping. Everybody talks to you slurping. You're the greatest. You're the greatest. You're the greatest. He was on the set with Fox. Urban Meyer, who is the sleaziest of all time. He says, Urban, you belong on the Mount Rushmore of college coaching. The Mount Rushmore of coaching. He belongs on the Mount Sleazo. He belongs on Mount Sleazo of scumbags. Urban Meyer, come on, Deion. Come on. I mean, you got to tone it down a bit.
But I'm sure he told you were the greatest writer.
No, he never told me that.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to call him up and find out.
Now, are they going to get it? Are they going to get it a little humble pie handed to them? I think we are all waiting to see that happen. They got to play Oregon and Southern Cal in 2 of the next 3 weeks.
Well, if we go back to that game against Colorado State, the game started at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Drew 9 million viewers.
Oh, we're all gonna watch.
Georgia, South Carolina in the middle of the day drew about half that.
Right.
So he's just brought such attention to Colorado State and Colorado and college football. I mean, college football. There are people that never want to watch college football tuned into that game at 10 o'clock at night.
All right. Here's the other question to ask then: would he ever leave?
No.
You think he's going to stay?
I
at
think
least
he's going to
short
stay.
term.
Yeah.
Or maybe he'll
Curry
unpack
says
his
he's going to go
bags?
to NFL. I don't think he's going to NFL.
Well, his kid is playing quarterback.
Right.
His kid's got one more. He's
Right.
got this year and one more year. Shadur
Right.
Sanders.
Yes.
His other kid's playing defensive. Shiloh Sanders. Great names. Great names. My opinion, I think the money's going to be too big for him to go. I think he wants attention. He wants more and more attention. I give him 2 years at Colorado. I think he's going to say, and he said he needs 6 or 7 more dudes and to try to
every
qualify
college
for
team
the
needs 6 or
national
7 more
championship.
dudes.
Well, but he's got it. I mean, this team is.
He'll get 'em.
This kid, this quarterback, his kid is special.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes 98 yards in 2 minutes to tie the game with a 2-pointer. He's going to be 1 or 2, 3 drafts this year. I think he's going to convince his kid to stay 1 more year. Say, listen, we can win the whole thing. We can win the whole thing if you stay 1 more year. And when his kid goes, I think he's going NFL.
I think he might stay.
I do too.
For 4 or 5
Right.
because, first of all, he's in a really nice place. Everybody's also coming to him. It's a gettable,
Those
close
players are
enough to
coming to
get
him, right.
to that. No, I mean, but all of the entourage, all of the people, all of the bling, all of the attention can come to Colorado.
Right.
That wouldn't have ever gone to Jackson State and might not go to pick a place where he could go.
Well, as he
Northwestern
said,
or Michigan State or
as he
anyplace
said on
else.
60 Minutes, he came to Boulder. He said, "These kids aren't coming to Colorado; they're coming to me,"
That's true.
which is true. And you guys don't think NFL players will listen to him?
No, I don't.
I
I do
disagree.
not.
I
Okay.
disagree. He's Deion Sanders. He's the best cornerback who ever lived. But I think his lifespan, his thing is his.
What's the lifespan of the product?
Well, his business
Product.
manager is a woman.
Right.
Her name is Constance Schwartz Marini, and she's with an agency in New York.
Mm-hmm.
She has Andrews. Aaron Andrews?
Right. Oh,
She
really?
has Wiz Khalifa. She has Snoop Dogg. She brought Snoop Dogg to the nation.
Right.
She also brought Michael Strahan, who's America's favorite gap tooth, and that's where Deion. I think that's where Deion's going to go after football. What Strahan has done. I mean, he's an American icon, Michael Strahan. He's on everywhere, everything, morning shows. You don't think that's where Deion's going to go?
No, I don't, because I think he will go to something where he has to work less. Michael Strahan works really hard.
But Deion loves. You don't think Deion works to get his attention?
Come on. He's really good at it. I will give him that. Let's hit one other thing before we take the break, because I'm sure I don't have the clock with me today, but I'm sure we're just about run out of time. The whole NIL and portal thing that Deion has made so special. If you watched the 60 Minutes piece, you saw the Maybach that his son now drives. That's good stuff.
That's a car for people that don't know what Maybach. And I don't even know.
We all know what Maybach.
I don't know.
All of us who've driven one, all of us who have one.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. Okay.
But the portal, the argument has been among those of us in the
media,
mainstream media, those terrible MSM people, mainstream media, lamos, is that this is bad for college football, that the NIL and the portal and all that is bad. And yet, 34 of the top 40 high school football players have now committed to 19 different schools. The fact that the SEC is down a little bit this year, the fact that the Pac-12, which has fallen apart, but their teams are having a great year, that it actually may be the strange
it's balancing
equalizer.
It's balancing
it definitely has balanced it.
And I never would have guessed that. I would have thought the rich would get richer, everyone else would.
But it's all about money, and college isn't about your education too.
Well,
and
but it's where they want to play.
They're not going to class. They just want to get money.
Classes?
Go play
wait
football.
a minute. We talking about classes?
We're talking about classes. We're talking about going to class.
No, but kids want to play though. They want to go where they can play, and that's why it's so spread out now.
And maybe that's what it'll be. It'll end up being an evening thing because kids do want to go play. Do I want to be the third string quarterback at Alabama, or do I want to go play?
But from the coaching standpoint, so you recruit these kids, you spend all this time bringing them in, and then they stay 1 year because they don't get enough time on the field. Where before, you waited your time, you moved up the ladder, and then you got the opportunity to play. But so you bring kids in.
Although the coaches were the first ones to, at the drop of a hat, leave and
I
go.
Get that.
They never stayed.
Right either,
and they never sat out.
No. And that's where the kids should have been able to leave. If their coach left, they should have been able to leave without having to sit out. But the money's ridiculous for these kids. There are 18-year-old kids getting the kind of money that all three of us, all the years we put together, don't have the kind of money these guys have.
Well,
maybe Curry does, but other than that.
Well, I'll tell you who does is The Rock. The Rock does. And The Rock showed up at the pregame shows, on both pregame shows. He's on the sidelines. And Deion attracts The Rock. And The Rock said something about Deion that I'm not sure I agree with, but he said this guy has galvanized the nation to college football. Now that's a huge statement, but that's not far off what he's done. And I think we got to give props to this guy.
I absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll see.
Well, here's the one thing.
The Rock. The Rock is the biggest star in the world.
Here's the thing he said that as a coach, I appreciate it. He said, truth is good for kids. Because when they had to go in there and tell these kids they couldn't stay at Colorado, and he said, truth is good for kids. They need to know where they stand, which is so true.
Yeah, but he did it in an insulting way. That's the one thing. He had the cameras there. You're talking about when he told the old Colorado guys.
Right. Yeah.
Truth.
Over 50-something kids left.
Well,
and
but he embarrassed them.
Well, he probably did, because he probably didn't want them. They won one game last year.
Well,
he probably didn't want those kids there, but too many kids left.
Kidding.
Way too many kids
Well,
left.
you wouldn't either. You probably embarrassed your kids, right?
Never.
You probably sold them out.
Yeah,
You're out of here.
Never.
Come on.
Never.
All right. So we're not throwing anybody under the bus yet. Yeah, we probably will, though, when we come back on Under the Bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens, formerly of ESPN, Curry Kirkpatrick, formerly of Sports Illustrated. We actually both still work a little bit. We just that was our start.
I don't work.
Okay.
Speak for
And
yourself.
the guy who really works is the coach, Rich Basirico.
Formerly of reality.
formerly of real life.
Yeah.
Real life coach. Last week we threw the U.S. basketball team under the bus, I think, for how they played in the World Championships. They're still
Not enough.
They're still under the bus. They have not gone under far enough. They are still ranked number 1 in the world, by the way.
Well, how can they be ranked number 1? They came in 4th place. We have the most NBA guys playing.
Yeah.
We had 12 playing. Granted, our best
We had them
players.
playing for every other team. That's why.
Yeah, but some teams we played, they had like 5 or 7. We had 12.
Okay.
These are the same guys that will go into the GM's office and want to raise because they consider themselves the greatest basketball players of all time, and we come in 4th place.
Well, we lost to Lithuania, Germany, and Canada. Germany, we only lost by 2 points.
Oh.
And
We're down about 18, we have to come back.
Dennis Schrader, who's
Who doesn't even have a
Dennis
team.
the
He
Menace,
doesn't even
have
play
a
on a team anymore.
He's played on he's played on 6 NFL teams,
Not NFL,
NBA teams. The Lakers twice. Now Schrader and
He was the MVP.
He's the MVP of the whole tournament. He used to be best known for this little bleach blonde thing in his head, right? I always thought that was fake. Was that real? I think it's
I
fake.
don't know. I don't know.
think
All I
it's
know
a-
is that USA basketball stunk.
But he's known for Dennis the Menace. He missed 22 shots against Latvia. Dennis Schrader.
Did he?
And then he killed us. He had 17-9 against 17-9 assists against us.
Well, think of some of the guys that are on the team. I mean,
Our team.
our
We're talking
team,
about our
USA.
USA.
Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Cameron Johnson, Walter Kessler, who played at North Carolina.
He never
Transferred-
used Kessler. He's
I
7'1".
know,
He never
but
put him in the game.
But he was on the team.
Never put him in the game.
Well, that's Steve Kerr's fault.
Well, I know.
mean-
he went small ball. He was playing,
but
at the end, he was playing 5 guards. He's playing Josh Hart at center,
Well,
6'5".
well, that worked. for
And then
him,
he
didn't
put
it?
your boy Brunson in at center, 6'1". Come on.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Well,
He's playing guys-
there's 2 Nick guys on the team. That's a problem right to begin with. There's 2
you
Knicks.
shouldn't have.
Well, and there's
Wow.
also 2 Duke guys on the team. That's
that's
a
a
real
problem, too.
Because Banchero and Ingram, all they did was get sick. You can't depend on Duke guys. I mean, come on.
Well, how many points did they gave up? Over 100 points.
117 a game.
That's
117
that's awful.
a game.
Absolutely awful. When you have supposedly the best of the best,
Yeah.
and you're giving up over 100 points a game, it's an embarrassment for our country. It really is.
The Olympic Games are next year.
Well, that's why.
It's
a whole
gonna be all
different team. Different team.
Well, that's why I said, last week or whenever when you brought it up, I said, nobody cares about the World Cup. Nobody cares about this World
be
Cup
right,
competition
but it's
unless,
basketball.
unless we lose.
That's right.
And you know who cared? LeBron James. He went nuts. He
should have played. He should have played.
Well, no, but he said, he was a teammate of Schrader. He was a teammate of another German guy who got 21 against us. He's been on 17. LeBron sees this, and how about when we got beat in the bronze game by
Canada.
Canada.
Right.
I mean, Gilgeous Alexander from Oklahoma City. I didn't know Gilgeous Alexander was Canadian. Did you?
No.
Nobody knows he's a Canadian.
He has a lost aunt that was Canadian.
Well,
That's how
and
he
the
got
other
on the
guy,
team.
Brooks. Is that the guy who used to play for Memphis?
Yes.
He had
Yeah.
39
How did
against
Barrett
us.
do? How did my friend Barrett from the Knicks
Well,
do?
and that guy got famous by taunting LeBron James in the playoffs. Remember that guy?
Right.
Brooks, isn't that his name?
I
You don't know. You don't care.
don't care.
You
Nobody
don't care.
cares. So LeBron cares now.
Well,
Yeah.
LeBron
And
came
so
out.
who's the coach of the Olympic
practically.
team?
Steve Kerr.
Will he coach the Olympic
Oh,
team too?
I think
Yeah,
he
yeah,
will.
yeah. Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
he
for
will.
sure. Yeah, he's
Well,
in
then
there
maybe
forever.
he'll learn. And I know Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr will learn from this experience,
I hope
and
so.
he'll be better.
I hope so.
Well, LeBron practically blew the bugle to get. He's going to
reached
get
out.
Curry.
Yeah.
He's going to get Tatum, supposedly. He's going to beg Embiid. He's going to beg Embiid to play for us instead of France.
Why would
I
you
mean,
not want to be? Why would you not? If you are, those guys have all the money in the world. Most of them have all the rings they need. Why would you not want to have an Olympic gold medal?
Right.
Well, here's the deal.
Should be an easy
Stephen
sell.
Curry has never played in the Olympics.
Right.
I know he's been hurt for
Right.
one of them. LeBron James hasn't played in the Olympics since 2012.
Okay.
He's missed the last 2.
Then it's-
They're all. Who would you
Dream
believe that
team?
they were going to play in Paris?
I do believe they'll
next-
come out now.
No,
You
I
have
mean
to-
before this. Before this.
Maybe.
If we'd have won,
Maybe not.
So this is one of the actually great motivational coaching moves. in basketball history for Kerr to throw
Kerr
the thing.
to lose.
To throw the, not just
Well,
lose.
I mean,
lose
LeBron's
He
off
out
the
knows,
there.
medal
that
stand.
he knows he couldn't win with this team. He
LeBron's
knows he
out
couldn't.
there.
But now you get
LeBron
LeBron.
and
you
But
get
Curry,
Curry,
LeBron's
you
out
get
there
all those
saying,
folks.
"Let's all go play and defend America's
Yes.
pride," and you know that they're going to do that, and we're going to win.
yeah, I
but
agree.
but I will say this:
Yeah.
international basketball has gotten so much better. I mean,
Which is true.
isn't the last 5 MVPs of the NBA are not American?
Could be. Yeah.
I mean, isn't that right? I mean,
would
we have
believe that.
Doncic
and,
Embiid won this year.
Yeah.
Jokic won like the 2 years before that, and the Greek Freak won. I think it's the last 5 years, something like that.
believe
Yeah,
it. And
non-Americans.
It is making it. The nice thing is because we've been brought down to be just competitive with everybody else.
Right.
To me, it's more like World Cup soccer. Now you pick your favorite. Now you can pick your favorite country and root for them, or you can pick your grandmother's favorite country that she came over here from and root for them. And I think it's.
No, it's so
As
much
a
more
world
balanced,
thing,
yeah.
it's awesome. Now we may not like it here in the States, but we don't much. We didn't like World Cup soccer either, unless we're winning. So maybe. we'll get
But the
involved.
U.S. has been so successful all these years.
Yeah.
Now there's so much more balance, and now they're going to be challenged.
stuff.
Even with this team of James, Curry, and all those guys, Booker, Mitchell, Butler, if they all play, they'll be challenged. There's no guarantee. I mean,
Yeah.
LeBron's, his career, I mean, I know he's the face of the NBA, but he's up there in age. He's not the type of player that he is.
He'll be 39 in the
there you
Paris.
go.
We're asking him about ages. Wait a minute. He still doesn't know how old Aaron Rodgers is.
Right, exactly.
And I don't care. But LeBron will be 39 in the summer, next summer in Paris. So if he's going to, he wants to play. I think he wants to play.
You got to
And-
have him on
but
the
the
team.
thing
I
is
don't-
about European basketball or international basketball. It's all about big guys. We didn't have any big guys on this team except Kessler.
Well,
we never played.
But I know, but we don't shoot the ball extremely well. That's one of our downfalls. Who on this team that you can say Anthony Edwards, was
the Ant-Man.
He
The
was
Ant-Man.
consistent.
If I
But
was
we don't
Kerr-
shoot the ball well. Where the international kids, not kids, but guys shoot the ball from the perimeter extremely well. They're big guys shoot the ball.
Well,
extremely
but my
well.
man, the Ant-Man from Minnesota.
Ant-Man, all right.
I think if I was Kerr, I'd have just given him the ball and said, go for it. Because he can get 38 on anybody. I mean, he can. I would have given him the ball and said, hey, just go
They
do it.
do that in the
Just go do
NBA
it."
right
Kerr
now.
did-
They do
Kerr
that.
didn't
They
want
give
to-
the ball to Curry
but
and go, just do your
Kerr
thing.
did it for Curry. Why didn't he do it for the Ant-Man in the
trying to
in
make
the
everybody
USA
happy.
game?
Because he wanted it to be done for him when he was the three-point shooter back in the day when he was one of the elite three-point shooters.
You just accused Steve Kerr of throwing the World Cup.
He would have
Very
a
nice.
brilliant
Very
comeback
nice.
to that and would put me in my place. While we're talking basketball, we got just a couple of quick minutes. The NBA's owners have decided now that guys cannot be you can't do this load
Rested.
management
Yeah.
thing. That they're going to fine teams if guys sit too much. And
Good for them. Good for the NBA. That's
Good for the
ridiculous that
NBA.
they have to sit.
I'm with you because I looked this up. Michael Jordan's last year when he played for the Wizards,
Right.
when he was 40 years old, he averaged 37 minutes a game.
There you go.
Well, that was
37,
Michael
and that was
Jordan.
one of his lower.
Do you really think the
points per-
owners? Who's the owner of the LA team that has? They have those guys that they rest all the time. Those two guys. For the
Jeannie Bush?
no, the other LA team.
Oh, Ballmer.
Ballmer.
Right, the Clippers.
He's the richest guy. He's the richest guy.
Yeah.
Clippers guy, the richest guy in the NBA.
Right.
Do you think he's going to care about this? He's going to sit those two guys and pay the fine. I guarantee. He's going to sit
how about
them.
these people
he's
that come
gonna
watch
let them
them
rest
play?
and
You
then
bring-
pay the fine.
Find $1 million a game.
I know, but you pay all this money
And
and you bring your kids to watch the game and then they don't.
That-
they
well,
don't
That's chump
play.
change.
That's
That's
what they
chump
need to
change
do.
for Ballmer.
I understand.
He wants to rest his guys for the
How
playoffs.
tired could they be? They're
and
not
let him
playing
keep,
every day.
Yeah, and let him keep resting them. And
Rest
how
them
many
in
rings
practice.
has Clippers won?
I believe that's 0.
Okay,
Zero.
thank you.
Right.
All right. When we come back, we have not forgotten the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is not around,
Aaron Rodgers.
and some
He's
guy.
like Roy Rogers.
Fantasy
He's a-
football's still here, Bob.
And
Oh
there's
my
a quarterback who is 2-0, whose name is Baker. We'll be back. We won't be throwing him under the bus in just a moment. Welcome back to Under the Bus. We have we've thrown a few people under the bus. Steve Kerr and I are both under there right now.
For sure. For sure.
I threw him under, and he probably would throw me under if he had the chance. We're talking about the NFL. What a difference a week makes. It's so fun. The first week, and this happens every year.
Every year.
The
That's
first
the
week
NBA.
we overreact. Oh
That's
my
right.
God, either the sky's falling in or we're going to the Super Bowl. And then they play week 2. And in Pete Rozell's, in his world, we're all 1-1.
That's right. Yeah.
We're all headed toward 8-8.
Well,
That odd game is going to make it
Yeah,
weird.
the story was the quarterback redemptions. Guys
Yes.
that played terrible the first week had great second weeks. My boy Josh Allen, 31 of 37, Buffalo wins easily.
Yeah.
Your boy Danny Dimes, greatest
Danny
comeback
Dimes.
in history since 1949.
Right.
Giants.
Well, look at the
greatest
Giants.
comeback.
Talking about being
Yeah.
bad, they were lost 40-0, then they were down 20-0, they were down 28-7, and they come back and win the game. I mean, that's beautiful. That's what the beauty of the NFL is. You know,
And
you never know.
Mahomes comes back.
Right.
They lose the first game, he doesn't play well. Geno Smith, my boy in
Geno
Seattle,
Smith.
plays a great second week.
And
And then we have your boy Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield.
Baker
What a
Mayfield's lucky to
disaster.
have a job.
Right.
He's a
Now he's
disaster.
Really
2-0.
lucky to have a job, and now he's 2-0.
Yeah.
And
Over,
the
Talking
important
Pro
thing
Bowl.
is he's in my fantasy
over
team.
300 yards.
I don't start on
Don't
but he's
bring
on
me
my-
fantasy. Don't
He's
come
on,
on.
He's
We're
on my
in
fantasy
reality.
team. He's
We're
my
in reality.
third quarterback.
Right.
I have Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence. You want to hear my whole team?
You want to hear my golf score? What?
No.
First-
No one wants to hear your golf score. No
Well,
one wants to hear it.
nobody wants to hear your fantasy team.
Sure
Come
they
on.
do.
Is Rodgers
Are
going
you
back to
talking about Aaron Rodgers
I
or
realize
Roy
that.
Rodgers?
I realize that's old
he's as
news.
relevant as Roy Rodgers now. Come on.
But he said
He was the
this
king of the
week-
Cowboys.
He said
Roy
this
Rodgers
week-
was the king of the Cowboys.
Yes,
by the
he
way.
was.
Okay.
He's coming
Trigger.
back. He's coming
He's
back.
come back
What
for
was
the
the name of
playoffs.
the plane?
Roy Rodgers?
Roy Rodgers' plane.
Champion was his horse. No,
Right.
somebody. Gene
Trigger
Autry.
was his
Trigger was his
Trigger,
horse.
Trigger.
I'm thinking of Gene Autry.
Yeah, you're thinking.
We're
they
getting way
football
off. We're,
players?
getting,
All right,
we're
all right.
going. Speaking of the Cowboys,
Yes.
they're probably the best team in football. But
I think-
we don't want to talk
No,
about that.
that's,
I don't want to.
I want to talk about these other quarterbacks. Your boy Zach Wilson for the Jets.
Oh lordy.
I mean,
he's
tell
not-
me, Rich, is he an NFL quarterback?
No, he's not. And here's the mistake the Jets made. He was the second overall pick. Look at him before you draft him. Look at him. He looks like he's 14 years old. He can't.
Well, hey.
You get in a huddle with a kid that looks like he's 14. You're going to listen to him?
Well, you know, he
Seriously.
made his bones in New York before he even played a game. He dated all these older women in the clubs. Remember that?
Yeah.
They called
That
him a
was after
cougar
his
hunter.
first
They
year.
call him Coug Hunter.
Yeah.
Now all the Jets people that are down on him call him the Coug Hunter. I believe
He can't make.
I
He
believe
cannot. He'll be out of there. He'll
Shannon
play
Sharp-
this week, but he'll be gone.
Shannon
after that.
Sharp had the great line.
who
he
they
said
gonna get?
Shannon Sharp
Yeah.
said Zach Wilson couldn't play dead in a horror movie. I mean, one of the great lines of
It
all
is a good
time.
line.
But that's from Shannon Sharp, but I got to quote him on
Okay,
that.
all right, that's good.
But speaking of bad
Yeah.
quarterbacks, how about this guy for the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields?
Fields.
He doesn't look like an NFL quarterback.
No.
He threw a screen press from his practically from an end zone, and the guy tipped it as a touchdown, pick six.
He can run. That's about it. And he's not even running
he's-
well this year.
You know what? He and
They're-
Zach Wilson are perfect examples of the unfortunate system in the NFL where the bad teams pick first.
Right.
And, you know, Ben Roethlisberger is not a great quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger, though, was drafted by a good team
Right.
who knew how to deal with him,
Right.
who helped him grow and become a winning quarterback and a
True.
good enough quarterback. I never had him on my fantasy team, but he was still.
Oh, my God. Listen,
But he was
listen.
still. But he won, and
You
it
throw
was
it-
because he was
here-
drafted
here's
like
what you-
23rd and not
Yeah.
second, third, fourth, like
In
these
the
other
last
guys who were
20
getting
minutes,
killed.
you've thrown Steve Kerr on the bus,
Yeah.
and now he's throwing Big Ben under the bus.
Yeah,
He's
for
won
sure.
2 Super Bowls. Didn't the guy win 2 Super Bowls?
Yeah.
Come on, Steve.
But
come on.
because, but
The
he,
team that surrounded him was
yeah,
really, really good.
he had a good
I
team
mean, the
around him.
Jets have good people
The
around
Jets have
Wilson,
some
but
good
he's
people,
not. He's not a guy.
But the
He's a
Bears
good
have the Bears
backup
do not have
quarterback.
any good people around Justin Fields. I don't give up on him yet because you got to wait and see.
Chicago's getting real fed up with Justin Fields. I guarantee. I mean,
I'm sure they have because they
the
have
Windy City.
little.
Gonna
They
throw a
have
little
little
wind.
patience.
Well, it's only a second.
I got to bring up,
All right.
to get off quarterbacks, my
Yes.
new favorite player in the NFL. Who had this? This guy was the 5th round draft choice, a rookie receiver out of Brigham Young. His name is Puka Nacua.
Yeah. Puka.
I mean, he sounds like a Disney character
my
from
fantasy
the Lion King.
Yeah, but you didn't draft him.
I mean,
No.
I mean, Puka Nacua. I mean, he's no relation to Mutada Patata, but he sounds like a Disney character.
Yeah.
And
He's playing in L.A.
he's had 35 targets,
Yeah.
25 catches in 2 games. In 2 games, 25 catches. This kid. I mean, who had that? Where do they find these people? Where did that? He was the 5th round draft choice. That makes him what, 150 in the whatever it was.
At least
in the draft.
more than that.
Puka Nacua, you got to love this guy.
Oh, I love him. I do.
Yeah,
I have him
yeah.
on my fantasy team. I drafted free agent.
Rich, please. On the 8th hole, I had a drive that went into the bunker.
Oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
McVay, one of the great, interesting rebound coaching jobs too. Speaking of coming back, I mean, nobody thought the Rams.
Well, they won, 5 games last year, I think it
Yeah,
was?
I mean,
But they won the
everything
Super
went-
Bowl the year
Yeah,
before.
and everything went to pieces. Worst job ever done by a team the year after they
After
won the Super Bowl. But McVay, now all of a sudden they're.
Not anymore. You heard what happened.
All of a sudden, they're what?
You heard what happened. They were
lost.
up. They were down 10 points
we
with
go.
4 seconds to go.
Yeah.
The line was 7.5.
Here we go.
Yeah.
And he kicks a field goal. Why? 4 seconds to go.
Because McVay knows the line. And
Maybe
he wants
he does.
to cheat. He wants to
Maybe
cheat.
he does.
He says,
but
I got nothing
go for
else
the
to do.
touchdown or just run the clock out. But why are you kicking a field goal? To cut it to 7? For what reason? What's the purpose of that?
To boost his team up. But
Well,
McVay's looking at
because
the line
maybe
and
there'd
says,
still be a second left, and he could do what.
No, the game was
no, the
over.
game
after
was
he
over.
kicked-
Please,
Yeah,
please.
That's terrible.
I was going to go back to the Denver
How many people lost money?
decision.
Yeah, but that was 1 minute and 57 seconds
Yeah.
to go, and he went, scored a touchdown, got the ball back, and then threw a Hail Mary.
No. They only kicked they kicked the field goal first.
Right.
They were down 11. They kicked the field goal
Cut it to
when
8.
they were down close.
Right, cut it to 8.
And then went for the touchdown
Right.
after they got it back.
And which they
And I would've
got,
done
which
it.
they did get it.
It worked.
Right. But there was a
would've done
minute and something go there. Here with McVay, there was 4 seconds to go.
we could get off betting for a minute. Can we get
Yes.
off back
All right.
back to reality?
Certainly.
Leaving
thought
fantasy,
betting was-
except
This
my
ain't
boy,
fantasy,
except
this
my
is-
boy, my boy Travis Kelce. We got to talk about my boy.
Yeah.
He's hurt the first week, comes back, catches a touchdown.
Yeah.
Now he has a new girlfriend.
Well, the important thing is that everybody thinks he's hanging out with the great Taylor Swift. Okay, so what was great that he caught this touchdown from Mahomes, and the wonderful Ian Eagle on CBS.
Yeah.
He knows the connection with the Taylor Swift connection. He also knows that one of Taylor Swift's great hits, which if you're a Swiftie like me, you would know this, called Blank Space.
Okay.
So Ian Eagle's doing the game, and Kelce touches touchdown, and Ian Eagle says, Kelce finds a blank space for the score. And every Swiftie in America went berserk. Ian Eagle is a Swiftie. It was so great.
That's good stuff.
I mean, it was, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Let's
throwing
let's
either
keep
one
it
of them
going.
under the bus?
No, let's
Oh.
keep it going.
Throwing
Let's keep
Taylor
it going.
Swift under
I hope Taylor Swift saw this.
Well, I'm
but
sure
she's
she
so
was made-
busy.
been made
Well, she's so
aware.
busy pretending she's surprised that she gets all these awards. That's what she does now. But I hope she was watching the game because that was great.
I'm glad we stayed with football.
Yeah, that's sure.
Didn't get off of that.
Well, come on.
Can I throw a team
Yeah.
under the bus?
Throw a team under the
All right,
bus.
Colorado State
Yeah.
for having 17 penalties for 187 yards, and they lost.
And you
obviously,
didn't
in
even stay up.
overtime.
And you didn't even stay up
Except
and watch
for
the
the
game
first
until
half.
2:20. I
Right.
watched the whole game.
Did you?
They were dirty the whole game.
I
Rich.
know. And
They
you know
put-
why? Because
they
of
put-
Sanders. Because I'm telling you, they want to beat him so
Well,
bad because
they
he's such
put-
an ego guy.
They put the kid in the hospital.
I know,
Who's
which
the
is
guy?
awful.
I mean, you saw that hit.
Yeah.
I mean, the ball had dropped to the ground.
yeah.
He was out of bounds, and he crushed him.
It happened
Put
a
him in the
couple times
hospital.
during
He's
the
out
game.
for 3
I know.
weeks. And you think they can beat Oregon or Southern Cal without that guy? No
No,
way.
no,
no
they
way.
can't.
No
They
way.
can't.
So no, you're right. You know,
penalties was
it was
ridiculous.
It was like it was almost. It
187.
almost looked like a bounty. It almost looked like a bounty. The
What
coach,
would
you
have
know.
happened? What would have happened to this whole podcast and the whole thing going on with Deion had Colorado State won the game?
Well, I would have spoken about Colorado State. I would have told you. I had that all prepared. I had all of Colorado State.
Because they were
They've
actually
got a
more,
gay,
they're
you know,
an interesting team. Yeah, they got a whole bunch
they
of
got a gay
interesting
guy on
characters.
Colorado State who's out.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody has that.
No.
I mean, tribute to Colorado State for
Absolutely. No,
that.
Yeah,
they
but
have
their
done all
coach
kinds of
not-
interesting
has to take ownership of
Yeah,
that.
well,
He
okay.
really does.
We're back on college
Here's the
football.
thing. When a kid does something like that, you take him out of the game. It drives me crazy when coaches just pat him on the helmet. Get him out of the game. Here's a famous thing, not a famous, I shouldn't say famous. Here's a thing that we used to say to our coaches. The quickest way to an athlete's mind is through his rear end. You want
Bench.
You put him on
Talk
the
about bench.
It's so simple.
We talking bench.
You're talking about people like, oh, going to run them, suicides after the. That does nothing. Put them on the bench. They'll figure it out real quick. These guys never do. Even in the NFL, they never take guys out. They make 2 bad penalties against them, and they get them out of the game. That doesn't mean that you can't put them back in the game, but get them out. Make them understand we can't. It's unacceptable. The Colorado State coach, that's his problem. He's got to take care of that immediately and make them understand if you don't do it the way we expect you to do it, there's a place you can be right on the bench.
Well, I think we go back to the NFL now, please.
Yes, sir.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
My guy, Geno Smith, had a great game. Bad game first week,
Yeah.
great game second week.
Yeah.
He's also leads the league in the greatest sound bites. The soundbite first week got him saying, "Oh my God," when Aaron Donald was bearing down him.
Right.
So this week he has an intentional grounding. Did you see this?
Yes, I
He has
saw
an
the
intentional grounding penalty, which
was
is a
terrible.
terrible call.
Yeah.
Terrible call. So the referee goes, I got to get this guy's name. His name is Alex Kemp.
Yeah.
Nobody ever wants to know the name of the referees, but we got to give this guy a name. Alex Kemp. He goes to announce the penalty, and he's going Geno is up in his face. He's stood there with his face. And the referee says he's doing the thing. And over in the MAC, he says, "I'm talking to America here. Excuse me." He says to Geno, it was like personal. He says, "I'm talking to America, Geno, please. So, excuse me." It was so hysterical. I mean, that is great. You can't you can't make this up. The NFL.
That's the beauty
I'm
of
talking
the
to
NFL.
America, please. It was.
I think we're done talking to America
Yeah,
for this
for
week.
sure.
Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Always.
We will see you next time where we will be throwing some people under the bus.